All right, picture this. You got Windsurf working on some back-end magic. You got Cursor refactoring your UI, and Warp AI is helping with a CLI script, all in the same repo at the same time. It sounds like a recipe for a Git disaster, right? Am I right? But I actually ran this kind of multi-agent setup over the weekend, and it wasn't total chaos, even though it was. So hey, I'm Dan. This is Building on Fire. I've been coding with AI for the past 75 years, and I'm here to teach you how to do a multi-agent setup. Let's go. So if you've tried to get a bunch of agents to work on the same repo at the same time, you've run into this. You're playing a constant git switch dance, stashing half-baked junk just so another agent or you can touch a different part of the code base, or you end up with 5 different clones of the same project eating disk space, and your git hooks are different in every single one, and then at the end you have to merge all that stuff. It's awful. But what if I told you Git has something built in that actually solves this in a really elegant way? And I got this idea from an Anthropic blog post about how they're using, or some people are using Claude Code internally. And I figured out how to get it work, at least for me. So it's Git Worktrees, and the core idea is pretty simple. So there's one main Git directory that's your project's brain with all the history and objects, but it can power multiple working directories. And each directory or worktree, like you see here, gets its own checked out branch, its own clean space. In this example, project main could be for integration, Windsurf is for a Windsurf agent, Cursor is for a Cursor agent, and that's how it looks. So Worktrees really shine for AIs because they can work together and they're not fighting over file locks because they live in totally different folders. And one AI can be iterating on a script while another is working on a library, and they can clash, and it works. You'll have to figure out how to align that later on, but you don't need to do any more forced commits just because one AI wants to switch branches. They still all talk to the same central Git history, so the fetches are fast and the merges are relatively sane. Plus, you don't have to have a dozen different full clones. So this is what my setup looked like over the weekend. I was able to get Windsurf on my laptop screen, Cursor and Warp on a monitor, and one was working on back-end stuff, one was working on a front end, one was working on utility scripts and middleware and a GCP function, and each tool, each agent was sandboxed in its own little work tree and all working in the same repo. Some of the code touched, and just through clear direction, I was able to merge it and get everything working together. So setting this up is actually pretty straightforward. I spent a bunch of time with ChatGPT and Gemini just figuring out what is the right setup. So I have some like docs and some rules. Comment below if you want it. I'm happy to share it. But first you clone your main repo once, and that's like your integration point. Then you set up a shared project scripts folder for shared Git hooks and helper scripts. And then for each new agent, you hop on to project main and make sure it's a clean branch. You create a dedicated branch like agent windsurf, and then you use worktree, and that's your new sandbox, and you're ready to go. Now for the agents themselves, or if it's AI or human, the rules are pretty simple to keep things smooth. Each agent stays in their own sandbox. That's a really important rule. And then rule number 2, they rebase onto origin main, as much as possible, and commit small logical chunks. So also when you push, you gotta use git push force with least because you've been rebasing a lot. So then, it's just a standard PR into the main branch, and that's it. So a couple other guardrails, clear file structure, feature ownership is very helpful, because if you've got kind of scope creep into each other's territory, then you still have to merge that in the end. And then I think a lot of this is just kind of good general practice, but commit small, test locally, push often, so CI can catch things fast. And rebasing onto main frequently, just so everybody gets up to speed as much as possible. Long-lived branches are the enemy. Get rid of them as soon as possible. And then, the human always reviews PRs before they hit main. So Worktree wins. It's great. There's some risks. So if you just delete a Worktree folder in Finder instead of git worktree remove, it'll get confused. Some older IDEs or Git tools might not understand Worktree. It's not that new, but that could happen. And then, merge procrastination. Don't do it. So if you are juggling or dreaming of juggling multiple AI agents at once in your same repo, and you don't want to spend $200 a month for a very murky and unclear concept of the new ChatGPT features, then you can kind of do it yourself. And I'll give you my detailed setup. Just comment below if you want it, and have fun with multi-agent experiments. This is the future. It really felt like I was touching the future this weekend. I was able to get out, I think, more code than I ever have in multiple weeks in an afternoon. And I'm still kind of blown away by it. But it's going to be the new norm. I think, we can all have that level of productivity regularly. And it's super exciting. But, we still end up building on fire.